After the governor of Imo State got information that a village in Osu local government area had been turned into a ghost town where people abandoned their properties to scamper for safety, he decided to set up a joint security team to reclaim the captured village. However, each time these joint security teams meet up to discuss their strategies on how to go about the raid on the kidnappers' den, they end up discovering on the day of the raid that their strategy had been revealed to the kidnappers and that they had run away to avoid arrest. Seeing this, the team decided to change their strategy on how they prepared for the raid. The security team knew they were not going against their regular kidnappers, but what they didn't expect to discover at the crime scene was a pot of egusi soup filled with human meat and other roasted human body parts, some of which were partly consumed, scattered all over the kidnappers' den. The story began in the once thriving communities of Osu local government area in Imo State and neighboring Uli in Anambra State, Nigeria. These villages, surrounded by lush vegetation and deep valleys, had been transformed into an abandoned ghost town filled with fear. For months, residents had been living under the shadow of what they believed were just violent bandits and kidnappers. Doors remained shut, businesses abandoned, and traditional rulers had gone into hiding. Even the wealthy sons and daughters of these communities had given up on celebrating Christmas at home. But the truth was far worse than anyone could ever imagine. It all came to light on a Monday when a joint security team comprising the Army, Police, and the Department of State Services (DSS) launched an offensive attack against what they believed was simply a gang of kidnappers. Their target was the camps hidden in the Nkwera Uda community in the Osu local government area of Imo State. The operation itself was challenging because the criminals had barricaded roads with fallen palm trees and also dug trenches to prevent access to the area. Military vehicles were held up for over 30 minutes as security operatives used shovels to fill the holes and also saws to cut and clear the fallen trees. A source who witnessed the 6-hour operation noted that as soon as the security convoy passed, the bandits emerged from hiding to reopen the trenches while terrified villagers watched helplessly. What the security forces found when they finally breached the camp was beyond comprehension. Inside an 8-room flat with crumbling roofs was evidence not just of kidnapping, but also of something out of a horror movie. Pits filled with roasted human bodies, decapitated heads, and charred human remains were found in the camp. The security team discovered a pot of egusi soup containing human meat. They also found a basket around the camp containing 4 human skulls, roasted alongside other parts of the body. Some body parts appeared to have been cooked and eaten, while others were used in preparing soup. The security team also discovered that these were not just random victims. Among the decomposing remains in a very deep pit was Eze Paul Obu, a traditional ruler of a village in Okigwe, and Victor Chukwuemeka, a youth leader from the same community. Both had been kidnapped from their homes. Eze Paul had been murdered, while another kidnapped traditional ruler, His Royal Highness Eze Ndukwe of Amagu Ihube, was miraculously rescued during the raid. The visibly shaken Eze Paul later revealed that his fellow ruler and the youth leader had been killed just 2 hours before the security forces arrived. The reason behind the killing was reportedly related to the traditional ruler's support for Governor Hope Uzodimma. But this wasn't just about politics. The gang had established a reign of terror that controlled every aspect of community life. Before any family could hold a marriage, funeral, or other ceremonies in the village, they had to first of all settle the gang with whatever amount of money that was demanded. The residents were forced to contribute food for the criminals' upkeep as they paraded themselves as lords, terrorizing and threatening those unable to meet their demands. The criminals had even set up checkpoints near the house of a controversial pastor known in the area, where they collected money from motorists and levies from villagers conducting traditional marriages or building houses. No one dared to challenge them. What made their operations even more terrifying was their preparation. They had laid landmines at strategic points on the roads and at the entrance to their camp. The topography of the area, which consisted of deep valleys and thick bushes, also provided easy routes for them to escape. The raid which took place between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., resulted in a fierce gun battle. Several gang members were neutralized, while others escaped. The team recovered 4 vehicles, including a Toyota Hilux, a Tundra, and a school bus belonging to a community secondary school in the village. They also found bags of gari, rice, gallons of cooking oil, a generator, a plasma TV, bulletproof jackets, guns, and ammunition. The operation continued days later when security forces returned after an intelligence report suggested that the fleeing criminals were planning to regroup. During this follow-up mission, they began the grim task of exhuming the decomposing remains of Eze Paul Ubu, the youth leader, and other victims from the pit. A girl who was rescued by the security forces shared her harrowing experience at the hands of the kidnappers.
So on Sunday, I'm supposed to go home. So they said that there is lockdown. So even give me warning, so my transport, so I will go. So they said that on Sunday there is lockdown. So I now said, okay, Tuesday I should go home before they cut me inside room. So one their commander tried to rape me this morning before he heard the gunshot and he ran away. I was the only one inside the room. They asked me to join them. I said no, I cannot. I cannot kill my fellow human being for nothing.
So can you just narrate a little what the kind of things you've seen in that place?
Yesterday afternoon, they killed one army man, and this man here, they kidnapped him in the night with one fair man there. So they kidnapped them. They killed some. That day we came, they showed us human head that if we tell government anything about this case, that they are going to cut off our head.
So what else did they do?
They beat us. They even kill human being, kill them, roast the human being. I don't know anything. There are plenty. I cannot count. There are plenty. Both girls, both ladies, both kids. Many people. I cannot explain.
Governor Hope Uzodinma, who briefed about the operation, expressed concern about how an entire local government area like Osu could be abandoned to criminals who killed, roasted, and ate human beings. He described the perpetrators as cannibals with no future and no plans. The governor, who had ordered the security forces to sustain their momentum and ensure people could return home for Christmas, claimed he was vindicated in his assertion that the insecurity in the state was deliberately sponsored and masterminded by disgruntled politicians who had sworn to make the state ungovernable for him.
God answers prayers. Only yesterday, the entire Christian Association of Nigeria converged in Owerri to pray to Almighty God to reveal and expose those behind the insecurity in Imo State. And I'm also vindicated. If you recall, several months ago, I did tell the whole world that this insecurity is contrived and sponsored by enemies of the state. Particularly some aggrieved politicians who doesn't like peace and who doesn't want the progress of Nigeria. But today, I think we can go home and continue to thank the Almighty God. From what we have seen, you will not agree with me that these are ordinary criminals and bandits who has no future, who has no plan, who are killing human beings and roasting human beings, eating human beings, cannibals. How else are we supposed to treat this kind of idiots, if not to ensure that the law takes its course? Well, this thing has been around for some time. Oftentimes we discuss our strategies, and before they will be implemented, it is foiled by the group. Because of mutual suspicion, I think we have agreed to only discuss at the end of every operation. So I don't want to encourage security agencies to tell anybody how they intend to continue this fight. But I know the new strategy is working, and my government will give them every support they need to ensure that there is peace in Imo State, and then Imo people will be better off for it.
What was considered more disturbing was the revelation that some villagers may have been accomplices to the criminals. Security operatives observed that whenever they removed barricades from the road and passed through, they would return to find the barricades replaced, suggesting that the locals were helping the gang and providing information about security movements. The leader of the Joint Security Team explained that they were proceeding with caution as they destroyed the camp because the criminals had planted explosive devices, bombs, and mines in different parts of their hideout. The security operation continued, aiming to completely neutralize the threat and bring normalcy back to these communities. However, for the people who live under this reign of terror for months, the psychological scars would take much longer to heal. The once vibrant communities of Osu and Uli now face the long journey of rebuilding not just their towns, but also their sense of safety and trust. The security team stated that the area might require an air raid and a permanent military camp in order to sustain the successes recorded in the raid. These events took place in December 2021, and at the time of making this video, it is believed that safety and normalcy had long been restored to the affected communities. If you found this story interesting, please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching.